Hi, I'm Dana, and I'm here today to talk to you about tapirs. Tapirs are a large herbivorous mammal. They are found in Central and South America as well as in Asia. There are 4 different species of tapir. The one in Asia is called the Lowland tapir, and the 3 species found in Central and South America are the mountain tapir, the Baird's tapir, and what we have here at the Brookfield Zoo is the Lowland tapir. It's also known as the Brazilian tapir or the South American tapir. It is considered vulnerable on the IUCN Red List. The other 3 tapir species are considered endangered. There's not really an exact known number of tapirs in the wild, so we don't really know how many there are. Like I said, they are a large herbivorous mammal, which means they eat mainly plants and fruit. You can kind of see his snout there. He uses that to strip leaves off of plants and to hit fruit onto the ground so he can eat it, or right into his mouth. His mouth, which has 42 to 44 teeth for those people who are teeth lovers. What is very distinct about the lowland tapir is that large sagittal crest on his head running to his shoulders. That makes him look very different from the other tapir species. You'll notice the cute little white tips on his ears too. It's just cute. That's all I got for that. So that snout, like I said, they use it to forage, but they also use it in the water as kind of a snorkel. The lowland tapir, and actually all species of tapir, are all very good swimmers. They generally live in rainforests and wetland areas and are usually found pretty close to water. They generally defecate in the water to, throw predators off of their tracks, and they often will go into the water to avoid predators. For the lowland tapir, common predators for them are actually pumas, unlike the bison, which I said in my Facebook live chat. Pumas, jaguars, and actually some crocodiles. But humans and habitat loss are probably the largest threat to the lowland tapir.
So what's his name?
Oh yeah, hi. His name is Sonny. Sonny will be 5 years old this year in October. He was born at the Center for the Conservation of Tropical Ungulates, that's a mouthful, in Florida, and he came to us in 2017. We are hoping to get him a female to breed with sometime soon, because we would love to have a little baby watermelon here. If you haven't seen a baby tapir before, that's exactly what they look like, little brown watermelons. They're, like I said, a brown color with some white stripes and spotting. It helps them camouflage in the dense forest. So we're hoping sometime soon to get him a new female to be with.
How much does he weigh?
The lowland tapir is kind of in the middle of the tapirs as far as size goes. Sonny is right around 450 pounds, but they can get up to 550 pounds. You can't really tell because there's not really anything to judge it against, but he is about 6 feet long, and about 2.5 to 3 feet high. Not tall, but high.
Where's his tail?
Same place other tails are. Where's his tail?
Well, it doesn't look like he has a tail.
Look, right there.
It's just very short.
It's short. He's got a little nubby tail. Love that.
Can you tell us a little more about his nose?
Get it under control. That is their best sense. So they have fair eyesight and good hearing. You can kind of see him moving his ears towards us. But their best sense is the sense of smell, just because of that So it's prehensile, similar to like a monkey's tail or a giraffe tongue. You can see how much he can kind of move it around and wiggle it just a little bit.
How many tapirs can be born at once?
Usually one. Twinning is very rare. So tapirs, that's a big disadvantage to the tapir because if they're having any sort of predation or human encroachment, they can't reproduce quickly because they only produce one young in their gestation, meaning the amount of time, length of time that a tapir is pregnant is right around a year. They just don't reproduce quickly. So if they start to have a lot of habitat loss and predation, either by animals or humans, they just don't recover very quickly.
What type of enrichment do they get?
He really likes feeder enrichment, so any kinds of devices that would make it more difficult for him to feed, hanging feeders so that he has a more kind of natural feeding available. I don't know if you could hear that on the video, but something that makes tapirs really cool is their vocalizations. He just made like a click, and that's usually like to communicate with other tapirs. They also make a really high-pitched squeal or whistle, which is like an alarm whistle. And if you make a tapir really mad, they'll stomp their feet at you and kind of huff at you. I've never seen that. So,
how many tapirs are at Brookfield Zoo?
we only have one tapir right now, just Sonny right here. Sorry, Sonny.
What's their life expectancy?
20 to 25 years. Most large mammals are kind of right around that.
Does he run, and if so, how fast?
He does run. Tapirs usually only do like short bursts of energy, so I was kind of looking in all the literature and I couldn't really find how fast they can run, but they can scurry really quickly. So it's kind of hard to see in the grass, but tapirs have 4 toes on their front feet and 3 toes on their rear feet, and they're pretty widespread. So they're adapted for going in and out of riverbanks, going on really muddy conditions. But they can do that very quickly to like evade predators and stuff.
Do they spend a lot of time swimming in the water, or just being in the water like hippos would, or is it something they only do to escape predators?
They don't spend. They like to swim, so we'll see him enjoying the water frequently. But I would say he's more like a pygmy hippo rather than a Nile hippo, where they don't necessarily live in the water, but they do spend a fair amount of time in the water. So like you mentioned and I mentioned, it's a good place for them to go for predator evasion, but it's also very good for their skin. It helps remove parasites, helps them cool off, and just gets them clean as well.
Is it true that their name means thick?
It is true.
So there's a question.
Good job. You can kind of see that in their body when he turns to face us. It's a little more evident, but they're shaped so that they can really go through the forest well through thick vegetation. So they're tapered, in the front, and then kind of go wider out in the back. So they can move pretty quickly through thick forests.
What animals are they related to?
So they're kind of funny because if you look at him, you would automatically think like an anteater or something just with that snout. But they are actually more closely related to horses and rhinos, like his buddies here in the Pachyderm building. Another cool thing about tapirs that I like, because it's a shared commonality with one of my other favorite animals here at the zoo, the bats. They are extremely important to their ecosystem. They are great seed dispersers. So while it's gross, they produce a lot of poop and they eat a lot of fruits. So by doing that, you know, they eat a lot of fruit and then they walk all over. They have a very large habitat in South America. And then they can just disperse all of those seeds and keep the forests healthy.
So where exactly do they live, and do they live with other animals?
Yes. So the tapir is considered an umbrella species, which means that it lives with a lot of different animals. A lot of animals are reliant on it. The ecosystem is very reliant on them. If you see the tapir population declining, you know that a lot of other animal populations and plant populations are going to suffer because of that. The South American tapir is found exactly there in South America, and actually they are found in a very good majority of South America, mostly in the tropical parts of South America. So they're not found in the Andes Mountains, and they're not found in the very southern area of South America, but pretty much all over the rest of it.
Do they like the Illinois weather?
They seem to enjoy, especially spring, because it's pretty similar, not temperature wise, but humidity wise, and with all the rainfall, the tapirs really like that. They are an animal that lives in generally a warmer climate, so but they do have a pretty low cold tolerance. So here at the zoo, they can be outside any time it's above 32 degrees. That's both during the day and at night, and he seems to enjoy coming out even in those cooler temperatures. And in the summer, you'll often find him sleeping during the day. That's very normal for tapirs. They're most active in the morning and at night when it's not as hot. That's when they would primarily be doing all of their foraging. So yeah, when he's here in the summer, you're seeing him do what he would be normally doing, which is, you know, escaping the heat of the day.
How long would a baby tapir stay with its mother?
Depending on the sex of the baby. So if it was a girl, it would probably stay with the mom a little bit longer. Boys tend to disperse a little bit earlier. They stay until weaning or a little bit after, so probably like 2 to 3 years of age is when they would normally disperse from their parents.
Can you remind us how many teeth they have?
42 to 44. I should probably just say 43, but they have some pretty impressive teeth. I don't know if you'll get to see them here, but they have very large teeth, which is used for grinding the plants that they eat. So I'm always impressed when you see some pretty large incisors and stuff on herbivores.
Why is he wiggling his nose like that?
So he's probably smelling you and I, and it's just, again, his best sense. So he can feel around, like right now he's feeling the grasses. I did throw some treats out there earlier, so he's just kind of sniffing around to see if he can find any remaining treats.
Do you have to give him pedicures?
We do not, but as part of his normal care, the animal care specialists spend time looking over his entire body, including his feet and nails, to ensure that they're all healthy and looking good. Again, I like to shout out our great veterinary staff here. If we ever have any troubles with his feet or anything else, we can contact them, and we have a great relationship with them to keep our animals healthy here.
Is he furry?
He is furry. It doesn't really look like it. It's pretty sleek fur. Again, it's good for the habitat that he normally lives in, so in the forests. So he has really thick, short fur, and it's kind of oily. Again, it kind of helps with water repelling and just keeping him safe from any brush and stuff that he may encounter.
So what does he feel like?
Smooth? I don't know. Smooth? If I say it again, does it make more sense?
Do the tapirs get any training?
Yes, we do training. Right now we're doing just, look at that snoot. We're doing just tactile training, which means just, you got to see his teeth there too. Ooh boy. tactile training, which means we just touch him so that he's used to us touching him anywhere, so that if he were to get, a problem with his ear or his eye or his foot or his leg, he would let us touch it, and then our veterinarians could also examine him that way without having to put him under anesthesia. So we do all positive reinforcement training with the tapirs, as with all the other animals in the zoo, just to mainly maintain husbandry behaviors to keep him healthy. Well, I want to thank you very much for joining us today while we chatted about tapirs, and I want to thank you for your continued support of Brookfield Zoo during this time.